Back to the first law regarding network entities selling digital products and services that have been created through the ecosystem collaboration. What kind of entities are we talking about? Are we talking about just new ones, or do you believe existing incumbent ones can adapt to such a new environment?
Okay, so I'm going to cast my mind back, I think, about 3 years when I first heard Don Tapscott speak about blockchain. And he said something that has really stuck with me throughout all of that time. And what he said was, we're seeing the birth of a new type of business that looks more like a network. Now, that's kind of where we're aiming. So we're now aiming at ecosystem A competing against ecosystem B. But what is going to be the vehicle, what is going to be the entity which takes this blockchain network to market? And if I look back at the experience that I've got, I would say that there are multiple different models. We don't necessarily know the winning models yet, and there may be different winning models in different markets and different scenarios. But if I kind of go through the typical models that I have seen. So let's go back to that banking one, for example.
Yeah.
So here we've got 31 banks coming together looking to solve a particular pain point. You might have done that with a central database in the past, but people don't really want to share the data. We're now doing it with a blockchain. So what we've got here is we've got a consortium of banks coming together, and in this particular industry, the collaboration, I think, is driven very much by a for-profit model. So in this instance, the founding members have got together to create a new special purpose vehicle. So this is a for-profit company, which is going to be the entity which takes this to market. And then it's going to be owned by, to begin with, the 4 or 5 founding members. And there may well be tiered ownership and tiered privileges as we take this this network to market. Other industries, though, may want to collaborate more on a not-for-profit basis. So, for example, I'm working in the travel and transport industry, and that industry seems to have a much more not-for-profit mentality. Now, in that particular network, we're very early stages, so I'm not quite sure how that one is going to pan out, but probably we're going to be forming a not-for-profit consortium for the collaboration layer with then competition on top. So those are 2 models, but there are other models. You could have a technology solution provider. So this is somebody who is basically building out capability and taking that to market, and then looking to build an ecosystem around it. So here, what's going to be critical is to have a governing board that will fairly represent the interests of the key players in the market, probably with some form of rotation or something like that, to try to make sure that it's fair and the government is fair, albeit this has been taken to market by a solution provider. But if we look at where the market is right now today, I would say, from reading the recent Judge Business School report from Cambridge University, they said I think 81% of networks have been taken to market so far by a single founder, like a founder-led model. And this is clearly the easiest entry point.
And the fastest, I would imagine.
Right, as one big, powerful player says, you know what, I can control upstream, I can control downstream. I'm going to bring my ecosystem to market. I'm going to make my value chain better than my competitor's value chain. Now, either this is going to be a point-in-time proposition, and you're going to have to see these marketplaces merge into utilities, because you can't be asking all the guys at the end to hook up to 10 different networks. Or you may have something which actually has found a differentiating place in the market and can sit in that model. So I think those are probably the 3 or 4 key models, where you have a special purpose vehicle, which is being owned by the founding consortium members, where you have a not-for-profit consortium, where you have a founder-led, so my baby, or maybe you have a new entrant to the market, a solution provider, that is taking a value proposition to market and is building an ecosystem around that, but is going to have to be terribly careful that they have fair and transparent governance, which everybody's happy with. Because again, you've got to find that balance of centralized versus decentralized. And that balance exists in a scale. And I'm sure we'll talk about that later.
Of course, and just to add a few examples, to those models. I mean, in the insurance industry, you have the non-profit vehicle being adopted by Risk Stream Collaborative in the U.S. In here also you have B3I, who has adopted a for-profit vehicle,
right.
And of course, in terms of having a market leader, you've seen that with Intrawave over Straight Lens, where Maersk, took that initiative.